Let's head to Indonesia now, where this morning President Biden has been meeting with world leaders at the G-20 summit. Obviously, a huge point of focus with this group is the war in Ukraine. And actually earlier, President Zelensky addressed members by video conference, urging them to keep up the pressure on Russia and help end the war. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander is at the summit for us in Bali. Peter, good to see you. So we understand the G-20 leaders are considering a draft resolution to condemn the war in Ukraine. But let's talk about how complicated that's going to be, with obviously so many different viewpoints here, not to mention, of course, the fact that Russia is one of the members. Will this be possible?
Yes, Savannah, I want to get to that point in a moment, but just some news that's developing here within the last few minutes. We've learned from the White House that President Biden would not be attending what is the gala dinner where the leaders of those 19 nations and the European Union get together, sort of a formal setting where they celebrate their ties and have opportunities to talk to one another when cameras are not watching them. The White House just announcing that the president would be going back to his hotel, or that we know that the president went back to his hotel. I just spoke to the press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, who says it's nothing urgent. I asked her if this was anything to do with the president's health. Yesterday, he acknowledged he had a cold. She said no, that he is just fine and will continue with other events tomorrow. Just want to keep you posted on that as it's just been developing here as you have been speaking. But as it relates to the effort of the president here, he's really been zeroed in on trying to get sort of a united front by the G20 nations, condemning Russia, demanding that Russia leaves Ukraine immediately. President Volodymyr Zelensky spoke out today as well via a video address, saying that now is the time for Russia to leave its country. But the bottom line is there are some divisions among these nations, even as they work on whatever the sort of joint statement might be here. India and China among them, who have been reluctant to condemn Russia to this point. Savannah?
Peter, also, I want to ask about the big news yesterday, of course, out of this was the meeting between President Biden and President Xi. We know you've actually been speaking with Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. She was present during those talks. What did she have to say about that meeting from an economic perspective?
Well, I asked her specifically as it relates to the relationship between these two countries, where there are certainly differences. President Biden dismissing the idea that we are on the cusp of a new Cold War between the countries. But obviously, Taiwan is one of the real flashpoints there. I asked her whether there was, if not a military war between the two countries, an economic war right now, and what that looks like. And here's part of what the Treasury Secretary told me.
Well, I don't think we're involved in an economic war. We each have some concerns about the other country's economic practices, and we agreed, President and President Xi agreed last night that we need to discuss these in greater detail. But although we're competing on a range of issues, conflict is not something that either country seeks, and you know, we're looking for peaceful resolution of differences.
Part of my conversation with the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen that took place earlier today. Notably, Yellen will be meeting with the Chinese central bank governor, effectively not the finance minister, but someone who's heavily involved in their economic situation before she leaves here in Bali. Savannah?
Peter, also just quickly, I know when you had the Treasury Secretary, you had to ask about this decades high inflation we've been seeing. What did she say?
Yeah. Well, obviously, that's the top issue on the top of mind for Americans right now, as evidenced by the midterms, where that, even above abortion rights, was the top issue motivating those voters as they went to the polls. And I asked her specifically about the job market and some recent layoffs. She said, among other things, that the market may be a little less hot, but still remains quite solid. And here's what she told me about the inflationary situation in the country, those record highs, the highest they've been in 40 years, but some good indications in the last month that the number may have already peaked. Here was her response.
I think, look, over the next couple of years, I definitely think that inflation will come back down toward normal levels we're accustomed to. I don't want to forecast on a month-by-month basis. We had a good, solid report on the Consumer Price Index last month, but one reading isn't enough to make a judgment about where things are heading in the coming months.
Secretary Yellen there saying that she thought it would come down over the next couple of years. Finally, Savannah, I asked her about her timing, how long she expected to serve in her role amid speculation that she might leave her position after the midterm. She said she intends to stick around. I asked her for how long would she stay through the remainder of the term, and she said to me simply, "You bet." Savannah.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.